So, Vancouver hockey media has had a field day today, because today is one removed from Rick Tocchet's departure from the Vancouver Canucks organization. All the shows, all the media, all the folks have had 24 hours to digest Tocchet's departure, and now we are starting to talk about the Canucks in probably the most negative way we have seen the past decade in a bit. It's been bad for the Vancouver Canucks. And we can get into the entire diatribe as to what Rick Tocchet's departure signifies. Not necessarily because, oh yeah, Tocchet's this amazing, fantastic coach and he's going to go win another Jack Adams with the next team that he goes to. It's not necessarily like that. But it's more the messaging. It's the fact that he did not believe in this team enough to want to stick around. It's the fact that the Canucks reportedly offered him something more than $20 million on a contract, and he walked away from that. It's the fact that Quinn Hughes wanted Tocchet to stick around, but Tocchet didn't. There are a bunch of things that you could dive into with the Vancouver Canucks, whether or not it boils down to the ownership, whether or not it boils down to the management, the practice facility or not, but I wanted to use this video as an opportunity to dive into Rick Tocchet and one particular talking point that I do think is really, really interesting and that we need to dive into in at least its own video here. So I want to give a big shout out over to Tej Dhaliwal, Dr. Dangles87 on Twitter. He's one of the guys on the Larshcast, and of course Larshcast was on 650 for a good chunk of the past few years here. Tej is not necessarily known as a quote-unquote top-tier insider, but he is a guy who has been around the Vancouver bubble and the Vancouver beat enough in Vancouver around 650 that I don't want to discredit this tweet and this thought in the slightest. Because earlier this morning, Tej tweeted out, at the 2024 trade deadline, when Elias Pettersson was almost traded for Marty Necas, Rick Tocchet was pushing for the trade to go through. He told many people around him. He never liked Petey's work ethic and didn't think he could lead. Aquilini demanded the Canucks keep Pettersson and sign him. I'm not surprised Tocchet left. Now again, I'm not going to go out there and say that Tej is like the most renowned insider on the market, but he is a guy who has been around the bubble enough, and he doesn't usually go out there and tweet scoops like these, unless, of course, it's something like this. A top reply from Average Hughes Moment says, this is the most trust me bro crap I've ever heard. But if it's true, then holy crap, Aquilini did something good for once. I sat on this for a long time. I wish it wasn't true. But I don't think Aquilini should be meddling this much regardless of which way you lean, as far as pro-Tocchet or pro-Petey. Fair. It's unfortunate that this owner is just an incompetent mess to deal with. Yeah, okay. There's another tweet here from Tristan that says, I have a source very close to Rick Tocchet that said this same thing to me verbatim. And so this could be like a total fabrication. It could be 100% fake, but it's not unbelievable. In fact, I would probably pitch that this is likely what happened. Honestly. Last year, the Vancouver Canucks are in a pretty tough spot because Elias Pettersson was so dominant at the start of the 24 season, the 23-24 season. He, Miller, Hughes, they were all 1, 2, 3 in the NHL in points for a certain time in October. They just could not stop putting the puck in the net. But Pettersson needed a contract, and that was weighing on the Canucks and the fans and the media. Oh, would they sign Pettersson to a longer-term deal? What's the dollar amount going to be? You gotta remember, back in 23-24, Pettersson was great, so there wasn't really any contention, like, oh yeah, sign him to a long-term deal, keep him around, and he'll be the highest-paid player on the team because he scored 100 points the year before, and he is really good. So, to hear that around the trade deadline area, where the Canucks were already apparently in thought of trading Pettersson away, for Rick Tocchet to be already of the mind in February of last year that, hey, we should probably trade this guy. Trade Pettersson, his value is super high right now, he needs a contract, and he's not going to be worth that contract. To have that thought process already laid out here from last year, And for Rick Tocchet to be going up to management and saying, yeah, trade this guy. In a season where the Canucks were so dominant and Pettersson was such a contributing factor to that, it is so interesting to see Aquilini meddle and get into the conversation so much to say, yeah, no, we're not doing that, Rick. We're not going to trade Pettersson. We're going to keep this guy, and we're going to sign this guy. And what happened after the Canucks signed Elias Pettersson? He started playing like crap. That is the moment, the all-star break-ish period, when Elias Pettersson stopped showing up, and he stopped scoring, and he stopped being nearly as effective the guy that he was for the first half of that season and in the prior season of 22-23. Pettersson had 100 points, and he was so good. But Tocchet, just a year later, is already questioning the guy's leadership, and Canucks fans and media don't really bite the bullet because, hey, Pettersson's one of the top scorers. He's getting all these points. Sure, Miller might have more points, but Pettersson's right there. He scored 89 points in that season, after all. But in the playoffs, he didn't show up. And in the season after, okay, sure, he was hurt in the summer. He didn't train as hard as he could have. He didn't show up. 24-25 just concludes. Pettersson has 45 points. He's the top star on the team. Not named Quinn Hughes. He fights with Miller. Things break down. The whole team gets torn apart. Tocchet leaves. Besser's gonna leave. Suter's gonna leave. Quinn Hughes is gonna leave in 2 years. And Elias Pettersson is out here 1 year removed from the coach pushing to get this guy traded for Martin Necas. Tocchet wanted Petey out if this report is 100% true. Which, of course, I'm not going to say it is, absolutely, no questions asked. But this scoop is one that's so believable when you just think about the types of people that we're dealing with and the types of players that we're dealing with. The Vancouver Canucks had such a distinct style out of Elias Pettersson that excelled under Bruce Boudreau. It just did not work with Tocchet. Absolutely not the same kinds of styles. Miller's style works with Tocchet. Hard skill, physical, he can get up in your face, he's not afraid to fight, but he playmakes, he shoots, he scores, he does so incredibly well offensively. Even in New York, Miller's over a point per game now. That's a guy that excels well under that Tocchet-styled system. So to see Pettersson not do that, firstly, okay, it's difference in styles, we understand that, but to learn that even as far back as a year ago, Tocchet was already of the mind that, yeah, this guy's not it. This guy can't be that guy. He's going to get paid a lot of money on his next contract, but he's not going to live up to it. He can't be a leader. He can't dominate the game outside of his east-west skill and his dangling. And sure, if Pettersson is a 100-point player, it doesn't matter if he's physical or whatever. He's scoring 100 points a year. That's worth $11.6 million. But what happens when he only scores 45? That's when you start to panic. So Rick Tocchet, profit or just blind lucky? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about this report that Tocchet wanted Petey out as far back as last year. Do you believe this report? Do you not? Let me know in the comment section all your opinions. I hope you enjoyed this British Ash Roll 99. And bye.